When Hurt Locker came out, everyone started asking me about you, and I always steered them in the way of a little film called 12 and Holding that flew criminally under the radar. Truly an incredible film.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
Michael Bless is a really great
director. I can certainly see why.
Yeah.
Actually, his last film after the first two was, for me personally, was kind of disappointing. I actually thought he got caught up in the genre trappings. Of what he was trying to do. He tripped up a little bit.
Yeah,
I think.
He gets into those the genre stuff. It's really kind of his kind of cup of tea. So I almost worked with him on one, and I didn't like the script. But then 12 and Holding came around, which is a really interesting story. So I enjoyed that aspect. And working with him is great.
You'd work with him again if the right script came around?
We're always looking for something.
So I mean, he'd already done pedophilia in his previous film, and certainly the relationship in that film is not like that at all. But I mean, some can wrongly interpret it. When the film starts and they start watching it. So how do you go about striking the right note of ambiguity in a relationship where it's essentially a reversal, because it's the older man who is the he's preyed upon by the 12-year-old. Right.
Yeah, it is. There is a fine line, and that was really most of the direction that Michael and I kind of would talk about over a cup of coffee, just figuring out how to sort of ride that line, and then playing it as innocently as I could, and honestly, I suppose. Because there's a very delicate balance, so that's just not really creepy. And then then you start checking them off, you write them off right away if it's, you know what I mean. So, and then that girl Zoe
she was
so
fabulous.
Good. She is so good. So she made my job
she
easy.
needs-
All
she
I had to
needs
do
to be
is just
getting
show
more
up
work.
and learn my lines, and the scene would just go bananas because she lights it up on fire. She's so good. She's so good.
I mean, what's it like going home at night with stuff like that? Like, take North Country. You got to be in a really misogynistic mindset all day. Do you just hate yourself at the end of the day?
No, I don't take that stuff home with me. I go to work and I leave it there.
How do you go about doing that? What do you do to decompress at the end of the day?
3 fingers of Macallan's always just. No, I usually just I don't know, go back to life, go back to, whatever it is. Usually I'm shooting in a location, so I got to go explore the city and, But yeah, it's my job, man.
At the other end of the spectrum, we already talked about SWAT, but I just wanted to bring it up again because Colin Farrell actually mentioned it in his speech that he gave about you at the Oscars, and he seemed to recall it very fondly. Now, I don't know if you think it turned out very well. I know people didn't really respond to it very favourably, but I mean, either way, you've got those memories, and it seemed like you guys were having a great time from what he was saying. Do you want to tell us about that experience? And also, what do you make of the finished film?
The finished film, it's a check your brain at the door kind of thing, and it's popcorn film, it's I think it's what it's meant to be, and I enjoyed it. I'm really glad I did it, and I got to meet a really good buddy on the movie, a couple of them actually. And Colin is a amazing human being. He taught me a lot on and off set, and he's like a long lost brother in a lot of ways. He's I think he's misunderstood in a lot of ways. He's definitely a family man. He loves his family. He's tight with them, and like I am, and so we had a really good connection. Very strong. The moment I met him, we got along straight away.
Was there anything specific that stays with you? You said he taught you a lot.
Yeah. Well, inadvertently, he didn't sit down and be like, "This is how it is." It just like he was going through a period in his career where he was really starting to take off at that point, and I mean, really, went a little bananas, even like the amount of paparazzi. But what I really kind of learned is just watching him with celebrity, being a celebrity that he is, how he treats people. And what I grabbed out of it is that he treats a guy, a homeless man on the street, to whether it be the president or anybody, everybody the same, and with kindness and regard. And that's that's a basic main thing I learned from him, and it's great.
Well, my worry, and I always have this with actors I really love, after they have the big film that puts them out there, is with all that exposure in the mainstream, I'm thinking, well, you know, are we going to see Jeremy Renner making the likes of 12 and Holding and Heart is Deceitful Above All Things and,
Right.
and stuff like this at this point? I mean, what's coming up next? I mean, there are rumors online about Hawkeye in the Avengers, and rumors just this week, in fact, of Joss Whedon, Firefly Flame, directing it. So, I mean, yeah, what's next? Do you have anything currently in pre-production?
Nothing's in pre-production right now. Yeah, I mean, there's talks of the Avengers, but it is, you know, we haven't really kind of solidified anything. But, you know, I like the idea of playing Hawkeye, but we'll see if it actually happens.
Is there anything else you were circling around?
There's a few things. There's one called The Raven I really like. It's got a really, it's kind of like, you ever see the movie Seven?
Yes.
It's a really great Brad Pitt movie. And it's like that in tone. It's got a really great kind of thriller-esque kind of quality to it, but it's set in 1840s about Edgar Allan Poe. So, and I think Joaquin Phoenix may be doing that. So if he does, and I'm definitely going to be working with him.
Well, that is big news.
Yeah,
it would be a big return.
But we'll see. You know, things fall through, things don't happen. But, you know, I love the idea of being able to work with him because I think he's tremendous. And,
okay, possibly then.
So
you
there's
heard
a
it here
possibility that it may happen, but I don't know. But I want it to happen. Let me put it that way.
And finally, I wanted to ask you about The Town. Ben Affleck is directing again.
Yes.
Very excited about that because he really impressed a lot of people and surprised just as many with Gone Baby Gone. So, I mean, what can you tell us about him? Have you shot that yet?
Yeah, we finished. It comes out September 17th in the States.
Okay, so like, what can you tell us about, you know, somebody like that? You know, in person, you know, is he again another Colin Farrell character, someone who's misunderstood?
In a different way, in a way where how experienced he is in his little ride in life that he's had and where he's come from. He's had some ups and downs, and he's so affable, this guy, and he's so smart, and. You know, he had to star and direct in this thing, and I don't know how he's going to be able to do that.
He wrote it as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
he wrote with a team of...
Yeah, so he gets bored just acting or just doing, because again, he's so smart. He needs his brains firing synapses, the whole thing, you know. And he's a wonderful human being, and then he did a really great job with this movie. I think this is the best he's ever been as an actor. I think this is I won't say it's better than the other movie because they're very different, but it's he has more money for this one, and there's a bit more action in it. So I think it's hopefully people will like it because I dig it. I think it's really great.
Well, we couldn't let you go without asking you about your experience here on Ischia. It's your final night, so what's on the agenda? What's Pascal got planned for you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm going to go to some beautiful part of the island. I've been to San Angelo. You know, I'm in board shorts and flip-flops right now, man. This is paradise.
It's the way to be, and it's going to get hotter tomorrow. But I mean, you're used to that after the Hurt Locker.
Yeah, this is gorgeous, man. I'm so happy to be here.
All right, Jeremy Renner, thanks so much for talking to us. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, brother. Thanks, brother.